Chairman. Thank you both for being here. Ms. Bresch, your new plan, so let me, as a business guy, let me just give you some advice. Parents are upset with the cost of the EpiPen and the potential of not being able to help their children. That's the problem you have. And what's happened is I started getting calls when I didn't even know it was an issue from people that were saying the out-of-pocket expense was $600, $700, the insurance wouldn't cover it. And now you've come up with this unbelievable marketing plan that only would suggest that there is unbelievable profits. I can't imagine anybody in their right mind coming up with a plan like that instead of just saying, you know what, we screwed up. We knew we had 96% of the market. We increased the prices. Please forgive us. We'll adjust our prices. So now you're putting out a generic. You're coming up with a different plan for a great product. And I guess my concern is that as we look at this, you're being thrown in with other witnesses that have sat in your same exact chair who have really set out to gouge the American people. And I guess my question is do you believe the increases that you've done with the market share that you have was inappropriate and a mistake from a marketing standpoint?
We believe that starting 8 years ago, balancing that price and access and making sure that we could not only in public places but reach more lives and reach more patients was absolutely critical. And look,
so how much
why
of this?
we put
How
the
much
generic,
of this
that's
is
why
a?
we cut.
How much of this is a Medicaid, Medicare, private insurance, private pay issue where you're charging different amounts to different people? Because that's another problem I keep hearing is it depends on what plan you're on and whether you're covered by high deductibles or not in Medicaid. How much of that is just the nature of the pharmaceutical business that you charge different amounts to different people?
You're correct. I mean, all pharmaceuticals are all different under every different plan.
So your pricing model is not like you say, it cost us X, we make X. You have to come up with all kinds of convoluted ways to make a profit depending on the coverage or the individual patient. Is that correct?
Well, and that's why we were giving you what we receive on an average, the 270.
So I get that. So how are you affording to give free pens to any family that makes less than $97,000 a year? How are you affording to do that? Based on the profit margin, I was doing the math, so that just means that if you make $100,000 a year, you're going to have to pay a big amount of money, and you're going to give them free to everybody else? Is that what I'm hearing?
So obviously, our patient assistant program is to help those families, but the reality is that the majority of the patients fall either with the commercial insurance that aren't facing those huge out-of-pocket costs.
So your increased cost is actually being borne by big insurance companies that provide insurance for their employees. Is that what you're saying?
No, sir, that's what our
is the giveaway figured into that cost?
No. The uninsured
So
is
you
really
didn't figure the
only
giveaway of giving away free EpiPens to people that make $97,000 or less into the cost of your product?
What gets factored into the cost of product from free EpiPens to even our EpiPen for School program. We've given
part
away
of the overall cost.
700,000 pens, but really the minority of patients, this uninsured patient that was faced with that paying the wholesale acquisition cost or that price, is that growing minority is why we took the step we did was to say we're going to
I would ask you to revisit that.
in.
I'm running out of time. I'd ask you to revisit that and make it simpler. So Dr. Thorne-Martin, let me come to you, because this is another hearing with another problem, and part of the problem is the FDA has a laborious approval process for any drugs, whether they're orphan drugs or anything else, and your 10-month approval process, I don't buy. Is that your testimony today, that you can get drugs approved in 10 months, or just a response?
Beginning in October 1st, we're committing to 10-month review time. If it's a high-quality application.
But I've seen some of those reviews. What you do is you send out a letter and say, well, we need more. So you buy time with your letters that may or may not be really in the approval process.
And we shouldn't be using those letters to do that. Those letters should
So when did you stop?
Those letters should be to signal
When did you stop? Because I've got copies of them if you'd like to see them.
I'd be happy to look at them.
When did you stop?
What we should be using those letters for is to signal true deficiencies in applications.
Mr. Chairman, I just want one answer and I'll yield back. When did you stop using those letters as normal practice?
Since 2012, we have put in place.
Okay, I've got letters that have been since then. I'll yield back.